What do you do when nothing is going your way and life takes a turn where it doesn't seem fair? Do you ask, why me? Or do you look for what your life is trying to tell you? How you choose to respond can be the difference between your sadness and your happiness. Tonight on French Full Circle, we will be speaking with shemsu-t on what to do when life seems unfair. Greetings and welcome to French Full Circle. I am your host, Marshawn Frencha. Today we'll be having a great conversation on what to do when your life seems to be going in the way that it isn't. I have my mentor, spiritual grandmother, shemsu-t, here to speak with us today. So just tell the people about you, who you are, and what you do.
Hi, my name is shemsu-t. Some people call me Rita Stewart. I am the owner of Master Force and the founder of Master Force International Leadership Academy. I have been an executive life coach now for over 30 years, but I also certified life coaches now for the last 12 years. And I also have a curriculum at Master Force that helps help people to live on higher spiritual acumen. So we have courses for young people, we have courses for couples, for men, for parenting. So you can find us out there. We call it the Master Force International Leadership Academy.
Before we start the conversation, we like to do a breathing to center moment. And I would ask that Mama Moot open us up with that breathing to center to begin the show.
Oh, sure. So for all of those listening right now, what I would ask you to do is to, if you can, sit up straight and put your feet on the floor. And if you're lying down, lie down. But if you're listening in the car, do not do this exercise. Save it for later. Okay, just keep driving because it's going to have you relax, and we don't want you to relax as you drive. Okay. So now with your feet flat on the floor, and if you can, take your shoes off because it's a form of earthing, touching your feet to the floor. And then what I'd like you to do is to place your hand on your abdomen and then push your stomach out. Just push it out because when you breathe in, I want you to feel your stomach come out. Okay, so make sure as you're breathing in, you're gonna push your stomach out. And I'm gonna construct those, I'm gonna direct those, okay? So now exhale all of the air, just exhale. And we're gonna breathe in through our nose, deeply, into your belly, feel your belly expand. And now exhale through your nose and push your belly in as you exhale. And slowly breathe in through your nose. Taking in that oxygen, expanding your belly, relaxing. And now exhale through your nose. Pushing in your belly as you exhale so that you're massaging your organs, right? And then breathe in again through your nose. Feel your body relax and let go. Breathing in, pushing the belly out, and then exhale. With your stomach in, massaging your spleen, your belly, your diaphragm, and then one more breath. Breathe in through your nose, pushing your belly out, and then exhale through your nose. And now just completely relax, just sit and breathe naturally. And if you can, continue to breathe into your belly. It's a way of keeping your nerve endings very steady, allowing yourself to remain calm under any circumstance. You're breathing and relaxing. And when you're breathing like this, you can feel the relaxation go through your whole body. And you allow yourself to just settle into yourself, settle into your body. Feel inside of yourself with your breath. Just breathing in and letting go. And now you can open your eyes and come back to this side. Rub your body if you need to wake up a little bit. And we're gonna get to our conversation.
So to begin the conversation, how do you react when life seems unfair? Maybe you're upset because you lost your job or can't seem to find a new one, or maybe you lost everything and you're finding it hard to pick up the pieces, or maybe you keep struggling to find the love you want and it just isn't, you keep finding the same person in different people. Tonight I have shemsu-t on to speak and share some of her knowledge and wisdom on what to do when life seems to not be going your way. Like I said, welcome again, Mama Moot. You know, one of the quotes that I've recently discovered by Gary Zukov, and I found to be pretty thought-provoking, is when you believe your life to be unfair, you are claiming yourself as a victim, and that it becomes even more painful. Do you believe this to be true?
Absolutely. But, you know, you have to get to that state of life. Those of us who have lived a long time, have lived through many experiences, we have to be careful in how we direct guidance to younger people, because the work that you're doing, the path that you're on, all of that is quantitative to the person that you're becoming. So you can't jump through hoops. You can't jump from where you are to where I am and still be at peace. It just doesn't work like that, because each one of us have come here to learn. We've come to the earth plane to actually discover ourselves, to discover the divinity in ourselves. But what happens is many of us, because we start getting socialized in our home and in our school and in society, we don't know that there's a soul plan. We don't know that we came here with a mission to get something done. So we think that life is being unfair when actually it's the universe trying to guide us back into ourselves. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. Mm-hmm. But even to that, I would even say you're in that state. There's like a sense of victimship when you're in that space. You feel like the universe or spirit or whatever you may believe in is against you and it's not working in your favor. So like you say, sometimes you be like, why me? Why am I?
Here's the thing, right? So suppose what you think is not in your favor is actually directing you in a way that you should go. So, you know, we don't like discipline. We don't like to be structured. We don't like to say, go this way. We don't want people telling us to do. We don't want our spirit telling us what to do. That's why it becomes so important for us to decide whether we're going to surrender to our soul, or are we going to let our ego dictate? Most of us want to be spoiled children. I want to eat what I want to eat. I want to party like I want to party, but I still want to look good and you know, all of that. No, it doesn't work like that. You see? Mm-hmm. So when we're calling life unfair, that's a time for us to really be still and study ourselves. Most of us are trying to do things in life without even knowing who we are. We don't even know ourselves. We know what we're trying to do. So we say it's unfair because our life isn't like this person, and this person, when actually it's not supposed to be. You are a unique individual. Your fingerprint is so unique that there is not one other person on the planet with your fingerprint. Well, that's the same thing with your whole DNA structure. You are unique. So you have to find out for yourself what that uniqueness looks like. And you have to represent that for yourself and stop looking over here to see, well, if that person has that, I should have it too. No, you have to figure out who you are. Now, it's not too hard to do that, but because in school, they don't have that as their curriculum, we have to actually take it on for ourselves to find that information. And it's out there. It's not hidden from us. But because we're not willing to go beyond, right? It's easier to sit and feel like life is unfair or something's wrong or God is punishing me. We can do all of that, but that's not going to solve the problem.
And I think that one of the great things I'm recognizing about what you're saying is too, that when you're letting your ego take over, it's almost like you're trying so hard to be in control of what you think should happen. You are resisting what is meant to come to you. I would even ask you to talk about that further. Is there a resistance for people who don't understand what I may mean by that? Is there a resistance that comes with that?
Yes. So let me tell you a little story. I was actually 5 years old when my mother was put into a mental institution. And I was the baby girl. I loved my mom. My mom was so loving and kind. And when she went into the mental institution, we went to live with my grandmother. And my grandmother was already taking care of my 3 other cousins. So it was 5 of us now, because my sister and I, then my 3 other cousins. So it was 5 children that my grandmother was taking care of, you know. And so I was pretty much left alone because I was the youngest, right? And so I spent a lot of time reading and getting out of the way. But there were times when, you know, if I went and read in the closet and would get up and then get ready to go to bed, nobody would have come to look for me to make sure I ate. So there would be plenty of times when I would go and look for some food and it would be gone because, you know, the older kids ate, nobody thought, and your mother is the one, right, that says, hey, did you eat? But there's no mother there. And my grandmother's tired. She's worked all day and she, you know, is doing what she's doing. Now, it wasn't until I was much older that I realized that I was neglected. Like I was an invisible child. Like nobody really knew who I was. And it didn't really bother me growing up, right? Because I had this quiet space that I like being in. But by the time that I got to college, I realized that there were some fundamental things that I had missed. And one of them was somebody caring for me and looking out for me and making sure that I was good. But I was good. Because here I am in college when I had to make sure that I got myself there. It wasn't somebody in the family, but it was me. It was my spirit. It was me surrendering to the tune of who I was that got me there. Now, fast forward many years later, I discovered that I was a queen of spades. I'm a queen of spades. One of the, you know, and this is one of the things you need to find out for yourself. What card rules your energy? I'm also a fire rooster, right? I'm also, you know, which is the Chinese astrology. You know, I'm also a Capricorn. You know, so there were certain tools that my soul came into this existence with that made sure that if I was going to be in the world without a mother and a father and anybody caring for me, that I could still be on my mission if I stayed true to myself. You see that? Mm-hmm. And it wasn't like somebody was telling me to stay true to myself, but one of the things that my mother, she was a part of church, so she taught me how to pray, she taught me how to sing, she taught me how to stay close to God, and I knew that prayer changes things. So I had a very strong spiritual connection that I had just for myself. Does that make sense, Marshawn?
It does.
Yes.
It really does.
So if we can ground our children, you see that? If we can ground ourselves, it's not just our children. Adults need to have a grounded relationship with God, with the universe, with Schwartz, whatever you want to call it. You need to be grounded in that energy so that you can be listening for what your spirit is trying to tell you to do next.
I'm glad that you said that, because that one of the reasons why I wanted to do this is because I know so many young people who similar childhoods growing up where either their parent wasn't there or they had a parent there, but the parent didn't know how to best care for their child and support them in growing into adulthood. I guess my next question would be, how do you control your happiness, and like how does someone go about going forward into grounding themselves and cultivating and creating that paradigm shift in their life so then they can truly move into their spiritual power?
One of the things that I alluded to earlier was the need to study yourself, right? To get to know yourself and who you are. So you need to know, and it's so interesting because they made astrology a kind of a plaything, right? And so you look in the newspaper for your astrological reading for the day. But astrology is a lot deeper than that. You need to have a natal chart done. And you need to have an astrologer in your circle. Or you can go to cafeastrology.com, and you can actually put in your birth date and your time of birth and find out, where is my sun sign? Where is my moon sign? Where is my ascending? Where is my Venus? And look at that and begin to know yourself from that particular standpoint. Now, when you start doing that type of work, you're going to see your own uniqueness come to surface, right? Then the other website you can go to is 7thunders.com, where you can go and look up your destiny card, like where I found out that I was a queen of spades, right? And then you find out, oh, I have certain strengths, I have certain characters. And that's a lot of times you'll find out, when you spoke about resistance earlier, most of the time we're trying to be like somebody else and resisting who we really are. Oh, I want to be like that, but that's not who you came here to be.
I would even, it's so funny that you say that we try to be, because I know, like, even for myself growing up, there were instances where I felt like, okay, well, I want to be like them. I don't know why I want to be like them, but I want to be like them. And then coming to like look into it into my adulthood, like I just had a epiphany. Now looking at it into adulthood, I think so many of us are looking to other people because we didn't, at that time in life, we didn't have the tools, or we didn't truly know who we are.
Design, Marshawn. Right. It's by design. By design. We live in a society that literally designs us to go to sleep. That's why so much of the work that we do in Master Force becomes so important, and the work that we do as coaches becomes so important, because people are not consciously aware of who they are, right? But imagine this, suppose we discover early in life that we are in Earth School. We have come here on a spiritual journey to actually expand into our divinity. And everything that we do is an initiation. Every trauma that happens my mother going to a mental hospital when I was 5 was my first initiation. Boom, move the mother. If you move the mother and there's no father, who becomes the main energy source? God. So I learned early to rely on God. Then there's a lot of death. You know, when my first cousin Jimmy was shot and killed when I was 10 or 11 years old, that was another initiation. At 11, you have your master. You have the master number, right? When you're doing numerology. So if you look at something when you were 11 years old, what trauma, between 8 and 11, what thing happened that had you distinguish yourself from anybody else in life? Well, Jimmy, that was Jimmy for me. He was my lifeline after my mom went away. And then to see him killed, you know, and laying in a casket, and he's 19 years old, that was devastating to me, you know? And then fast forward to 17, I broke my hip, thigh, and knee my senior year in high school. That was another initiation. Each one of those initiations took me into a deeper understanding and relationship with my connection to God. When I broke my hip, thigh, and knee, and they told me I would probably never have use of my leg again, somebody brought me a book called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. And he said, I know this book might be too deep for you, but if you read it, it might make a difference. Well, you know, daring a 17-year-old, come on, right? So of course, when everybody left that Friday night, Marshawn, I opened the table of contents and I looked for the 3 chapters on healing. And I read those 3 chapters, and starting that Friday night, I began to apply what it was I needed to do to heal. 3 days later on Monday, I was like, hey, where's the doctor? I'm ready to go home because it's about to be, I've been there 3 months now. It's about time to be Christmas. I'm ready to go. Doctor comes in and said, oh, you must have contacted God. I said, oh, can I go home now? He said, well, it's not quite that simple because we have to put you in a body cast. And you're going to have to wear that body cast for a year. But don't worry, in 8 weeks, we'll bring you in and clean up. Baby, when they put me in that body cast, and I went home after 24 hours, but 8 weeks later, when I went to the clinic to have my cast removed, they said, oh, we don't even have to put another cast on you. You're almost fully healed. You just have to have crutches. And again, that book taught me how to communicate healing to the cells in my body. I learned that at 17. That was the initiation. And when I started to get older, Marshawn, I said, why aren't they teaching this in school? Why aren't they teaching people, young people, how the mind works? Now, it wasn't until 20 or 30 years later that I realized they don't teach that because they use it to program you through the television, through your school curriculum. You're not to discover who you are. We need a workforce. We need people to do our work. We need prisoners to be our slaves, to do free work. We don't want you to know about leadership and how dynamic you are. We want you to follow the program. If you're people of color, you need to be an athlete or entertainer. We got the business and the money side. You know, that's what the others say, right? But we want you to entertain us. So you go be an athlete and you go sing and dance, and we'll take care of you. Can you see that program?
I can see it.
Yes.
Just like even with the jail system and how a lot of people in there, black and Latinos.
Yeah, and mostly black men. Right?
Mm-hmm. So and they're in there on the most minor
charges, and a lot of times that's where our families' money go. You know, it goes into the system. So we're on their program. You understand that? So when you're talking about the fairness of life, we have to begin to take responsibility for ourselves and stop thinking. See, if I make you think you a victim, guess what you're gonna always do? You're gonna wait for somebody else to rescue you. Yeah, Come on, it's something, and that's what that's for. Cinderella and all those storybooks are to have women become, oh, you gonna rely on a man because the man, and you see, that's why you can look at the government, you can look at all of the corporations are mostly run by white males. All of the senators in Congress, mostly white males. Why? Because they literally set up that paradigm that says, we're gonna run things, we're gonna tell you what to do, and now we're going to write this movie, give you the curriculum for teaching, write these books to keep you in line. So we're gonna tell you the fairy tales, and you're gonna be able to relate. Oh yeah, I feel so bad because I don't have a mother. Oh, my whole life. So now you go through the rest of your life like that. If you don't stop and take responsibility for your own uniqueness and the power of who you are. That's why we know thyself is not just a cliche. It really is a ticket to your freedom and your self-discovery.
Just to summarize what you're saying is that sometimes the situation presenting itself is the catalyst needed to get you to create the life that you want, but also a lot of the situations that we sometimes are in that negative the condition that we've had.
Suppose that everything that we call trauma has a gift. So the trauma of my mother taught me how to be spiritual at a young age, right? The trauma of my cousin Jimmy gave me the insight into what it meant to take care of young people, like, you know, the young, and especially young men, because that's what I actually got into Master Force, taking care of my son and his friends, right? And then the initiation with breaking my hip, thigh, and knee, I literally was willing myself to die. I was in that hospital telling God, I was so mad at God. I said, I didn't have a mother, parents, this and that, just complaining like everybody else, right? Woe is me, and was willing myself to die. And here's somebody, and it was a teacher from my school. He wasn't even my personal teacher, Mr. Baker. He was a teacher at my school, and he brought me that book. And he also brought me 7 Black magazines because he didn't know how I was gonna, but he brought me reading material. You see? And so suppose I would have put that book aside and just picked up the magazines. You see, I had a choice in that. And because I was a little more submitted, when you're more spiritually guided, and it has nothing to do with being a Christian or being a Muslim or being any of that. Your spirit is your spirit. It doesn't need religion to guide you. Religion is doctrine. Your spirit is in you, and it's connected to the universe, just like, anyway, that's a whole nother subject. But anyway, when you actually can align with your spirit, you will know the best choice to make. So I knew to pick up that book and read about healing.
I know that from personal experience. It's so amazing how the universe works. And I just remember I would be on the bus to work, and I remember I just kept hearing this innate voice inside my head, it wasn't even in my head. I could hear it from my heart, and it was saying, God is real. Yeah. And something in that just made me feel, not that we are something outside of God, but we are all expressions of God. Once we connect and understand that and fully dwell more into that understanding, we can really achieve and create anything.
Well, that's the whole thing. When we study at Master Force, we talk about the life quadrant, and we break up the life quadrant as the individual is mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. So all four of those elements are running ourselves on a daily basis. So we need to be checking in on all of those quadrants. Most of the time, because we have been taught in society that everything is mental, mostly what we do is talk, read, watch television. We're not even checking in to see how we are emotionally. We're not even checking in to see if we're happy or sad or what we're feeling. We just kind of let our emotions run around, totally unconscious. Totally. And then, people talking about comfort foods and all that. All of that comes from not being in tune with yourself, not being connected to yourself. So if you connect with yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, you would be more rounded and grounded within yourself.
That's so great that you said that, especially when you said the comfort food, because I was also me and my sister, we were in the car yesterday. She was watching someone, and the lady, she even said like, oh, if you want to manifest or create, you need to change your diet, because when you're eating junk foods and processed foods, your vibe, and you want to manifest your vibe, you're not vibrating at the frequency that you need to
food changes your frequency. That's right. Yeah. And imagine that we've known for years that they've been poisoning our food. I mean, GMO, you hear people say, oh, I don't mind GMO. But guess what? We don't even know the damage that GMOs are doing. We won't know that till like another 10, 20 years, right? But they're literally, I'm reading a book right now that is so inspiring. But one of the things that you learn as you do go deeper into your spirit is that you don't really need much food. Your breath is what's more important. And that breath that we did today, that's just one small variation. There are many variations of breathing that will make you stronger spiritually and more grounded within yourself. So there's so much to learn. We haven't even begun to discover how amazing our inner verse is. We don't even know ourselves on the inside.
And what is the inner verse?
Like everything that's within you, like all of the things that, like when you close your eyes, do you know what your chakras, can you see your chakras spinning? Do you even know that you have 7 internal chakras and then another 12 around you and then another 200 and something that goes outside of you, that connects you to the universe? So your inner verse is here, right? And then when we look at our chakras, they're all connected to different organs in our bodies. It's what keeps us healthy. People get a sore throat and they immediately want to go to the doctor. Well, your throat chakra is opening up. It's trying to get you to talk about your feelings. It's trying to open you up to the power of your words. It's trying to get you to stop swallowing your anger. And suppose you just knew, oh, that's my throat chakra. What am I not saying that I need to say? Where's something blue that I can put around my neck? Where's this crystal that I can hold in my hand? Let me sip on some tea. You totally different. And then look at yourself. Suppose you took a journal and you looked at your traumas and you wrote them down, not as a victim, but you wrote them down to see, where's the gift? What am I learning about myself through this? What more can I discover here? You see that? Can you see the difference? And it gives you a sense of responsibility instead of somebody, please come save me.
Waiting for a miracle.
Waiting for a miracle. Wait, and you are your own miracle. It's all within us. God literally created each one of us as sovereign beings that we can heal ourselves, we can teach ourselves. the examples of Jesus Christ and Buddha and all the other teachers were just examples for us to learn. You have this essence within you. You're not here to see how much money, all of that's egocentric. How much money you make. Are you famous? All that's egocentric. It has nothing to do with your spirit. All of us ain't here to be famous and rich and all that. No. We each have a different role to play. And when you discover what that is, your happiness opens up because you learn to do only what you love. And you stop people pleasing. You stop trying to find applause outside of you. You know to trust yourself. And the thing is, so we have what we call the Saturn return. The first Saturn return happens between the ages of 28 and 30. And Saturn is what we call, when you study the cosmos, right? Saturn is the father, it's the structure, it's the time, it's the disciplinarian. So when you have that first Saturn return between the ages of 28 and 30, you're usually looking very hard at what you've been doing for those first 30 years. And that's the first time the spirit says, hello, are you looking at yourself spiritually? Hello, I'm here. Are you checking in? And if we would teach our young people to get on a spiritual path early instead of teaching them about church and religion, we would be further along as a society. But because we don't, most of the time when people hit that first Saturn return, it's scary because it seems,
it's like a midlife crisis.
It's like a midlife crisis. You ain't even midlife. Right? You're not even midlife. The midlife literally is between 75 and 80 now because people can definitely live past 150. They're not telling you that. You understand me? But they're poisoning the skies, poisoning your food, poisoning your water, and you just following right along. No, we cannot continue to do that. We have to take responsibility for who we are and at a very powerful sovereign level. And we have to really, and those of us that know, we have to continue to teach. We have to continue to get the message out there, So that when you're approaching your Saturn return between 28 and 30, that 27 age begins to start looking kind of crazy. That's why you hear people who are in the fame industry, you have the 27 Club. A lot of them are suicidal. And it's because why? Because they haven't connected spiritually. They've been on this path to say somebody telling them to do this, or they get hooked on drugs because they're not satisfied with their life. And so they're not even listening for God. They're not even listening for spirit. They're not even listening for their mission. And so then they feel like, oh, I'm not here. I don't want to be here. And they take themselves out. Now they get to come back in. I don't do the whole thing like suicide is bad, nothing. But you coming back, you're going to learn. I mean, the universe is very generous with us. You don't want to learn now. Okay, take a break, come back later. But just know that you are given everything that you require. So when that 28 to 30 Saturn return comes in, is to help you to ground yourself. It's to make you feel a sense of dissatisfaction. It's to make you assess your life and put things in proper perspective so that now the next 30 years can be better. That you cannot be a legend at 30 and 40. Are you kidding me? You ain't lived a legend. Y'all can't. How y'all dying legends at 30 and 35? That's a freaking program. The most productive years of life is between the ages of 60 and 80. Yes, because young people are supposed to be doing what? Learning who they are, know thyself, grounding themselves spiritually, and assessing what their tools are, strengthening their tools. And then if they're going to start a family, take care of that family, get that family out of the way by 40. You've acquired some skills. Now at 60, your kid's grown, you got plenty of time, you made some money. Now you can make more money. Now you can leave a legacy. These people dying at 30, 35, 40, 25, talking about their legends on bullshit, okay? Because that's not real. That's made up. You came here with a stronger mission than that. I promise you did. I'm sorry.
I'm loving this. I'm even going to piggyback earlier to what you said about community. How do us as friends, family, how do we support the youth in growing their spiritual selves? And
well, that's so great. I actually have a course, the Life Master Force Life course. It's a 12-week course. And it literally teaches about the breath. It teaches about the astrology. It teaches about the subconscious mind. It teaches about the life quadrant. It teaches about all those things that are not being taught in school. That we have another course starting April 9th. And we're teaching people these skills because it's so needed in order to ground enough people so that the word gets out. I mean, you took the certification course to become a coach. So the work that you do is inside of getting this message to young people, right? Now we're doing the life course so that people can learn how to put this power into their life, but they're gonna have to study. We want people to know you have to know who you are. And the only way to do that is to study yourself. You're not going to find who you are on a television program and identifying with people because they look like you. That's not the best way to identify with people because the spirit doesn't have a color. There are other versions of who you are that has nothing to do with the color of your skin. So we have to really make sure that we're allowing ourselves to grow spiritually and not just force feeding our ego to be somebody just because we want to be famous or loved or whatever that is. Everything that you need is inside of you. So one of the ways is to take the course. Another is people need to have mentors. Your old age group needs to have mentors, they need to have coaches, they need to have teachers, and they need to surrender to the learning. And you can still live life. It doesn't have to be serious all the time, but you want to have someone who's holding you accountable to your spiritual growth. And it's really interesting. Back in the day, the church used to do that. It's not like that anymore. So you can't tell me, oh, I go to church, that's why I get fed spiritually. No, you don't. No, you don't. Most of the young people coming in now have come to teach us. But we try to reprogram them so young and we get them hooked on, Ritalin and all that stuff so they can get out of their minds. But, the universe says, well, let me send you another group of young people. The universe is always sending us the indigo children, the star seeds, the crystals, the rainbows, to help us to maneuver this energy that is trying to stop us from remembering who we are and why we came here in the first place. So young people, take a course or either get you some mentors or read. I've already given you one book to read. There's several books. The library is free. There's also if you have a library card, there's an app called hoopla.com. And Hoopla, you can download any audio book free of charge if you have a library card. The Power of Subconscious Mind is on that. Knowledge is free. Knowledge is free. You do not have to go and pay and get a PhD and a master's and all that, because most of the time that lesson that you're paying for in college is years behind what you can learn now. You want to know why? Because when new discoveries come out, before they can teach it, they have to put it in a book. They have to, so they have to do the research, they have to teach it, then they have to teach the staff how to teach it. So by that time, you're 4 or 5 years behind a person who's a self-teacher, self-learner. So everybody needs to be a self-learner. You don't need to pay somebody to give you a degree. But now, if you look, a lot of colleges put their courses online free. So, there's one company, edx.org. You can learn anything on there, no cost. But if you want to get a certificate, you pay $90. But you can go out there and learn how to be a recorder, or how to with a studio person, all of that. EDX.
Coursera is a good one too. It's free.
Yes. So we want to realize that as a unique being, you want to discover what it is that you came here to give to the rest of us. So you have to start with getting to know yourself. And then you want to get a mentor, a teacher, or a coach, someone who can identify with your life path, not someone to tell you what to do, because those are different things. We start off in school in kindergarten. What do you want to be when you grow up? Why would a kindergartner know what they want to be when they grow up? Right? First thing we should be teaching them is what? How to meditate, how to go inside, how to be still, how to have clean hygiene, how to eat fruits and vegetables and love them, how to plant a garden, how to sustain themselves. Then we want them to know what's your destiny card, what's your astrology, what did you come here for? You see, that would take them on a completely different path. And then by the time they get 7 to 8, they probably would know what they came here for. But that's because they would have checked in with themselves. They would have begun to unload and connect to their blueprint that the soul has for them. We're not here by chance, Marshawn.
Oh, I know that. That was definitely.
Yes, none of us are here by chance. So when we get how sacred our lives are and how sacred we are to one another, we'll begin to take that more, sacredly. We'll appreciate it a little bit better.
I would also add on to that, your book, Patiently Waiting for Nothing.
Patiently Waiting for Nothing. The other one I would add on is Your Soul's Plan by Robert Schwartz. Because that literally is, you talk about fair, right? Is life fair? Literally in this book, he writes about how he spoke to mediums who knew how to talk to people's soul before they came to this life. And the soul said, this is what I plan on learning. So they get these people around them and they say, okay, listen, I need you to kill me. I need you to abandon me. I need you to rape me. I need you to betray me. I need you. And people are like, but no, because the soul, the way we look at things, good and bad, and an experience is an experience. The universe doesn't go, that's good, bad, and ugly. The whole everything is for your evolution. How did you survive that? Did you turn to your inner self, or did you become just as bad and deviant as the person that did that to you? Each time you get to choose. You know, so Your Soul's Plan by Robert Schwartz is I love that book. I constantly, because it shows us that their life paths, whether you are an alcoholic, a drug addict, cripple, lame, a widow, all of those paths are things that we actually came here at our soul level to learn. We came here to learn something. And so you can begin to explore that. And one of the things that help us to explore who we are is meditation, because, you know, downloads come in when you allow yourself to listen.
Not even that too. As we speak about soul work and, you know, taking accountability and things like that, I've come to understand too that when you start to dwell more into your spirit and you just surrender and you begin to like listen to, you begin to, sometimes I feel like we're doing so much that the spirit and your spirit guides and your ancestors, they're trying to deliver messages to you.
Noise. Yeah.
Especially in our generation, I feel like we're so trained, it's so indoctrined in us to be doing so much, or have our eyes like have us distracted into doing so many other things, that when they are trying to present messages, you know, if you hear it or you don't even, and you can't remember it, or you're not even open to hearing or receiving the messages. Because I feel like now, especially now, there are moments when I could be doing the most random thing, laying in bed, and I'll hear my spirit guides telling me to do something with my life, or I hear the messages, and you know, it'll spark a new idea,
yes,
for me to do something. So yeah,
that is so true. And you know, again, society is by design. All of the technology and people using their phones, constantly being inside of that space and not allowing themselves quiet time, you know. And then also the mechanical way that we go through life with the alarm clocks and not making sure that we get enough rest and that we are actually rested. No, we get the alarm clock, we go to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, jump at 6 or 7 and swallow the coffee and do, you know, those are mechanical ways. Our body, we're not mechanical. Our soul, I spoke about the chakra system, but all of that speaks to the energy. And the more that you open up and the purer you are with your diet, and the more pure you are inside of your heart, you know, all of those things open you up, you know, and that's what has, like you just said, the lady said, your diet, all of that has your manifestation happen more quickly when you allow yourself to be more pure of heart. And you're not, you know, trying to always, you know, get rid of the alcohol and the drugs and the, you know, no, right? You have this vessel that's clean, and so clean, that's easy to go in and out.
Yeah. That's so amazing. We are drawing to the close to the end of the show. I would ask you, how can the audience connect with you beyond this episode?
Yes, wonderful. So I really do want to encourage you to look for my course and take my course. You can find Master Force, that's the name of my company. And then I've also founded Master Force International Leadership Academy. Both of those are on Facebook. And then shemsu-t Transformation Life Coach, that's on Facebook. I'm also shemsu-t on Instagram, Twitter, and something else, I forget. But you can find shemsu-t out there. And if you want to leave a message for me, you can call 773-969-6211. That's a voicemail, and I will get back to you, or one of the other coaches will get back to you. But definitely, your next step in life is to study yourself. And if you need assistance, again, the Master Force Life course can help you with that, or you need to find you a mentor, a coach, or a teacher that can help you on your path. Not somebody to tell you what to do, but somebody to help you discover yourself on your path.
You feel that life is unfair? Think of this. What you experience is exactly what you need to experience. And while you can't control what happens to you, you always have the option to choose how you respond to what happens to you. In every moment of every day, we are given the opportunity to create anew. Amazing, amazing, amazing. I just want to thank you again, because every time I see you, every time we connect and talk, I always learn something new about myself.
Yes,
and it helps me to hold myself accountable and, continue the work that I need to do to support myself, but also give knowledge to other young people. So I just want to thank you again.
Yes. And I thank you too for actually reaching out to me and being someone on this path. I wish that I had somebody like you when I was your age. I had to make so many mistakes, but now they're teaching tools, right?
I thank you, because looking back on my teenage years, you came in my life, you came in my family's life at the right time.
Wow.
So it's just amazing how I would say a pivotal part of my development you are. So I just continue to thank you.
Yes, I love you and your family, and I'm so grateful. I'm just glad to be here, and you help keep me on my toes and reminded me that there's more to do and there's more to give and more to share. So thank you for reaching out.
Thank you. And so we come to the close of another episode of Friendship Full Circle. Thank you all again for tuning in. Again, I am Marshawn Frencha, closing out this episode of Friendship Full Circle. Let me know in the comments about how you feel in this video, and what are you going to do to respond in your life when it seems unfair. Until next time, catch you all soon, and peace and blessings.
Good night. Thank you, everybody.